Alright, let's talk about what's coming in versions 5.7 through 6.0. If you've been saving Primogems or planning your pulls, this roadmap is going to matter a lot. We're not just talking about who's showing up, we're looking at why, how past patterns might help us guess the future, and what kind of strategic thinking can help you prep for one of the biggest updates ever, 6.0. Raiden Shogun is back. Let's start with 5.7. It's actually shaping up to be one of the more balanced patches in recent memory. We've got new characters, reruns, and some fan favorites finally making an appearance. Skirk is leading the way here. Yeah, the same Skirk that's been teased for what feels like years. She's a 5-star cryo sword user, with a unique mechanic called Serpent's Subtlety, which fuels her enhanced normal attacks and elemental burst. The way her cryo damage scales over time and creates synergy with off-field hydro or freeze teams makes her a very promising DPS option. Then we've got Dahlia, a 4-star hydro sword user from Mondstadt. His playstyle is a bit different. His skill scales with max HP and increases attack speed for allies. Now, Emily's rerun in 5.7 isn't too surprising either. She's a 5-star Dendro Polearm user from Fontaine, first introduced in version 4.8. Her kit is all about optimizing the burning reaction. Her elemental skill sets up a Lumiduce case that deals area of effect Dendro damage and powers up when enemies are burning. So if you skipped her in 4.8, now might be a great time to reconsider, especially if you're interested in elemental mastery scaling and off-field Dendro application. Then we get to the second half of 5.7, and honestly, it's stacked. Mavuika is finally getting her first rerun, and it just so happens to line up with Skirk's release. Whether that's a coincidence or not, it's pretty fitting. Skirk's a brand new cryo DPS, and Mavuika is the Pyro Archon herself. Her elemental skill has 2 modes. Tapping it triggers coordinated pyro attacks with the team, while holding it gives her pyro-infused normal attacks. Both options use her unique resource, so choosing the right one depends on your team's needs. Her elemental burst doesn't rely on energy, but on a special meter she builds during combat. When activated, she jumps onto her motorcycle and enters a powered-up state where her attacks become stronger the more of that meter she had. And yes, she literally fights while riding a bike, which instantly sets her apart from everyone else. Shenhe is also back, and her timing couldn't be better. If you're even thinking about pulling Skirk, Shenhe is kind of a dream support, boosting cryo damage and shredding cryo resistance like no one else. So yeah, second half of 5.7 isn't just strong, it's super well-rounded. Whether you're going for Mavuika or leaning into Skirk and Shenhe, there's a lot of value here. Now 5.8. This is where things get interesting. There were some early whispers about a new 5-star Hydro character showing up here, but according to updated info, that doesn't seem to be happening anymore. So what we're looking at is most likely 4 reruns. Now let's talk about the rerun lineup for 5.8, because this patch is looking like it's all about reappearing favorites rather than new faces. One of the clearest patterns in Genshin is how characters released early in a region, usually from X.0 to X.4, tend to get their reruns later in that same region's cycle, usually around X.5 to X.8. And in Natlan's case, 3 characters stand out: Citlali, Chaska, and Mualani. Citlali dropped in 5.3, Chaska came right before her in 5.2, and Mualani kicked things off all the way back in 5.0. None of them have had reruns yet, and based on past patterns, at least 2 of them are likely candidates for 5.8. It's hard to imagine Hoyoverse stacking 3 Natlan reruns in one patch, so realistically, it'll come down to 2 of them. Out of the 3, Citlali feels the most secure. Her rerun seems all but guaranteed, not just because she's the most recent, but because she's by far the strongest and most popular of the group. Her kit brings reliable off-field cryo application, a strong elemental mastery scaling shield, and resistance reduction for both pyro and hydro, all of which make her an incredibly flexible support in freeze, vaporize, and even burgeon setups. That leaves Chaska and Mualani fighting for the second slot. Chaska's timing fits better, and she lines up neatly with how reruns are usually spaced. But Mualani, despite releasing earlier, still hasn't had a single rerun, and that makes her hard to ignore. She's overdue, and a lot of players have been waiting for another shot at her. So which one makes it in, Chaska or Mualani? Hard to say. My gut says Chaska, just based on pacing and release order, but I wouldn't be surprised if Hoyoverse throws us a curveball. Either way, 2 of these 3 are almost definitely showing up in 5.8. There's also one more rerun we haven't talked about yet, and that's Wanderer. If you look at the current banner rotation logic and the characters waiting list, a lot of Sumeru characters are at the top, which could hint at a Sumeru Chronicled Wish in the near future. But Wanderer probably won't be included there. He's a bit of an outlier, and his limited inclusion in region-focused banners might be why he's getting a rerun in 5.8 instead. Now here's the part where Hoyoverse might pull a classic move. 5.8 is the last patch before the next region drops. You know what that means? Make us spend our Primogems right before 6.0 hits. It's happened before, and I wouldn't be surprised if they did it again. So don't be shocked if we see someone like Nuvalette, Yellen, or even an Archon make an appearance here. The point is to bait players into pulling just before a massive update, and honestly, it works. Speaking of massive updates, let's get into 6.0. This is the one everyone's been waiting for. A new region, a new story arc, and very likely new mechanics, exploration systems, and maybe even combat shifts. But even before we set foot in the new land, there's something that always happens at the start of a region, an Archon rerun. It's a trend. We had Zhongli in 4.0, Raiden Shogun in 5.0, so it only makes sense that 6.0 will continue that pattern. The big question is, which Archon? If the next region, Nodcry, connects to Mondstadt, then it's probably going to be Venti, and that wouldn't just be a random rerun, it would fit narratively too. Venti guiding the traveler toward a new destination, acting as a bridge between the old and the new. It makes sense. And if Venti is involved, then so is Varka. He's been name-dropped so many times and has been hyped as Mondstadt's strongest. Seeing him finally debut in 6.0 alongside Venti could be a huge moment for the story. Now, we don't have concrete info on other new characters yet, but if we follow past update cycles, the full 6.0 beta should start leaking in about a month or 2. And once that happens, we'll start getting massive info dumps on new characters, weapons, mechanics, and story elements. So now is the time to start watching closely. Personally, I'm holding my Primogems tight after 5.7. Skirk looks tempting, but if 6.0 brings Varka and a whole new region to explore, that's where I want to be ready. So how about you? Are you pulling in 5.7? Skipping 5.8 completely? Or going all in for 6.0? Let me know what your plans are down in the comments. And hey, if you found this roadmap helpful or want to stay updated when the real 6.0 leaks drop, don't forget to subscribe.